What's up, Flip Fam? A lot of people have been asking me on what stretches I do on my Instagram specifically, because I always update my stretching. So I'm just gonna show you everything I do in a normal stretching sesh. So all these stretches that I'm about to do are gonna help you with your pancake, which is this, your middle splits, which is very similar, I'll show you, front splits, and just upper body mobility. Anyway, let's just get started. So, the first thing we're going to work up to, like start warming up to, start stretching up to, is our pancake. So we're gonna just start in a butterfly, just like this. Use your elbows, and then you're just going to slowly pulse and push your knees into the ground. I usually do this for about 30 seconds, and then after about 30 seconds of this, we're gonna go to the next one. Now, again, I'm not going to be holding each of these positions as long as I usually do, but what the goal for this video is that like you'll just get used to you'll just memorize these stretches and then hold them for however long you want. Anyway, so we just did the elbow one. Now we're going to put one arm under our leg and then put our hand on our knee and then push down. So this is going to focus opening up your hips, which is very important for all splits. But this is going to focus on one side, as well as you just have a little bit more leverage to push down. A lot of people think for pancake and for middle splits that it's all about stretching the muscle, when like just as important, you need to make sure that your hips are open enough, that your joint can rotate enough. This is actually my problem. Like, I have decent hamstrings, but my hips are so tight. Probably from twisting or something, I don't know. As you can tell, we're switching sides now. Thank you. My girlfriend's here. Say hi.
Hi.
Yep. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is start to warm up our hamstring, and we're gonna go to here, and then we're going to go into a 90. So it's kind of like a 90-90, but your leg is straight. Now instead of reaching down this way, we're gonna be pushing back towards this foot. Again, this is gonna be opening up our hips even more. Switching sides, obviously. And again, leg straight and doing a 90 here. So again, this shouldn't feel necessarily like a stretch, but more like you're just rotating the joint a little past what it normally does. Your hip joint. Okay, and we're gonna go to our regular, I don't know what the stretch is. Anyway, we're going to, so there are two types of stretches. There's a fold, which is your chest facing it, and then there's a reach, I believe, which is your chest facing out. We're doing a reach, so make sure your chest doesn't face your knee. It's going out, and we're just gonna go down as far as we can. And then we're gonna reach over our head to our foot. Okay, so if you can't do this, then you can just reach to your elbow. If you can't do that, you can just reach to your neck, okay? And do whatever you're comfortable with. I usually hold this one for, I'd say, about 30 seconds to a minute. All of the stretches up until now will be 30 seconds to a minute. And then we're doing our other side, obviously, warming it up. And then now reaching. What this is stretching is your hamstring, of course, but also your lats. Where is this your lats? Right here?
No, just Miss Marseille's the back leg. It's your main part. It's like basically under your deltoid down to the middle.
Okay, so we're gonna say lats. And you need to have a flexible lower back as well if you're gonna get pancake. So we did side to side like that. So now we're gonna start reaching down forward. Now this is where you're actually just doing your pancake. We're gonna also warm up our butt, so our glutes, and we're gonna do a 90-90 stretch, which is very similar. And then we're gonna try to get our head down to our foot, and you should feel this like in your butt, the side of your butt area, like that. And I usually hold this one for probably 2 to 3 minutes because I'm just on my phone, and then slowly going lower and lower. Okay. Like any stretch that you find comfortable, but are still feeling the stretch, try to just hold it and relax there for as long as you can, so you get as much of the stretch as you want. And then switch. So 90-90 the other way. Okay. This is warming up your butt, or stretching out your butt, so that pancake, middle split, everything will just be that much easier. So we're gonna do a slightly more intense glute stretch. So instead of 90-90, we're gonna straighten out our back leg and then try to have our hips facing the ground. Okay, so we're gonna be looking like this. Do it this way so that you can see it a little bit better. Hips. Your front leg is perpendicular to your body, your shin, and then you're just gonna get as low as you can. Stretch that. This one is slightly harder to hold, so I only hold it for like 45 seconds to a minute. And then we're gonna just do the other side, 90-90 stretch, extend the leg, get your hips squared and facing the ground. Get as low as you can. So before we move on just to trying to reach all the way down to our pancake, we're gonna do one more hip stretch because opening up your hips is again very important. So it's gonna be this one. You may have seen kids just sit like this in grade school, but we're trying to get comfortable with this, okay? Sitting with your feet pointing out, and yeah. This was honestly so hard for me to work out for. I usually couldn't sit down. It'd always have to be like this in this painful spot. So like, it's okay if you can't sit like this, but if you can, you really open hips. If you can, and this is easy, start like reaching forward a bit. I can barely do this. And if you can't, just like put your hands on your ankles and like lift up a little bit to what you're comfortable with. Anyway, after you've done that, I usually do that one for about 1 to 2 minutes. Again, how long I hold stretches isn't like, I don't really emphasize on how long to hold each stretch. I'm not like, okay, specifically 30 seconds or 45 seconds. As long as I hold it for at least 30 seconds, which is like researched, you need to hold a stretch for at least 30 seconds for it to do anything for you, then I'm good, as long as I hold it for at least 30 seconds. Anyway, so we're gonna go back into this. We did side to side. Now we're going to try to reach as far as we can. So, you shouldn't like instantly think, okay, I can go straight down, even though I just did, but work your way down, like just small pulsing. If it's hard for you to keep your feet up like this, and they keep folding like this, then you can put like a ball, like a rubber ball, right in front of your ankle and then it'll stop it. Just get lower and lower. Make sure that you're not bending with your back like this, and you're keeping it straight and bending at your hips. As you get comfortable, reach just farther and farther until you can get your chest down. And that's your pancake. And that's all the stretches that I do to warm up for pancake. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the middle split, and warming up for pancake essentially warms everything up that you need for middle splits, except we're just gonna emphasize stretching out our groin muscles. So we're doing this frog stretch. You want your legs to make a line, so it shouldn't be like this. It should be like just a line. If this is too easy for you, you're not feeling a stretch, push your hips back and you're really gonna feel a stretch in your groin. And if this is too hard, then just lean forward a bit. As you can see, I'm trying to make this video for all stretch levels. Yep, and then as you get more comfortable, try to push your hips down into the ground, spread your knees out even more. So as I said, all the things that we stretched for pancake are the things we need to stretch for middle split, so we're not gonna repeat those. We just did the frog stretch, so we're just gonna try and go as far down into our middle splits. I think the difference between middle splits and pancake is your hips are facing the ground in middle splits and your hips are facing forward in pancake. I could be wrong though, I don't know. I don't have a full middle split, but I'm getting there. Once you get to the point that you can kind of relax onto your elbows, try to hold this stretch for at least a minute. Yep, but if you can't quite do this, then just hold yourself up with your arms, go as low as you can. Don't force it. Okay, and that's enough. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to our front splits and pike. I forgot to say that this routine also helps with pike. We're gonna warm up our quads now. So we're gonna be kneeling, and then we're gonna reach our opposite hand to our opposite foot, and then we're gonna grab the other side of, oh my gosh, opposite hand to opposite foot. You're gonna pull your heel as far to your butt as you can, and then you're gonna push your hips to the ground. We're gonna I would say do this for at least a minute, because I'd say the least stretched part of the body is probably quads, because it's so hard to stretch, because there's no like position you can just hold to stretch your quad. Push your hips into the ground. And we're gonna do the other side. Boom. Grab opposite hand, opposite foot. Pull your heel to your butt. Push your hips into the ground. So, big thing to keep in mind, try to keep your hips squared facing the ground. A lot of people like relax their hips and then their hips start facing to the side, which you don't want to do. And again, try to hold that one for like 1 to 2 minutes. Now we're gonna be warming up more of our hamstrings, just a different part, the part of your hamstring that stretches forward instead of to the side. We're gonna be, again, kneeling and then straightening our leg, and then try to bend with your hips, not your back. So don't relax your back like this, keep it straight, and just bend where you can. Grab your foot, pull. A good technique that I probably should have said at the start of this is PNF. So I don't know what it stands for, but what you do is you take a deep breath in, and then you try to like flex the muscle that you're stretching, and then on the exhale, you relax and go deeper into it. And then that'll actually help a lot. So once you're watching this video again, just remember to do that at the start. Okay, and again, we're switching sides. My hamstring is terrible on this side because I have sciatica on this side, which is a pinched nerve in your back, which tenses up all your muscles. One thing to keep in mind, you never want to do any intense stretching. Oh man, I need to keep my back straight. You never want to do any intense stretching right before training, because it's like stretching a rubber band really far, and then like stretching it even more, like when you're training, because then the rubber band will tear. You don't want your rubber band to tear. Your rubber band being the muscle. So we stretched our quads, we stretched our hamstrings. Now we're going to go down and try our front splits. So it's probably gonna look something like this. One thing to keep in mind, again, make sure your hips are squared facing that way. A lot of people open up their hips like this, which doesn't really help. Keep your hips squared for this first stretch. It's gonna be really hard. So this is like a strict front split. And then try to hold it for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Once you're feeling a little bit tired, then you can relax your hips and open them up. So now my hips are kind of facing that way instead of straight that way, but it's okay. And then we're gonna do the other side. Again, keep your hips squared so you can get that stretch in every part that needs it. Just try to push your foot out farther and farther back, lower and lower. Then after about 45 seconds, you're just gonna relax, open up your hips, and just relax in that position for as long as you can. I'm usually in this position for like 1 to 2 minutes, just because I'm like on my phone and stuff. Anyway, that is our front split. So the last thing we're gonna work on is our pike, at least for lower body. And there's not much I really do for that one, since I just warmed up and stretched my hamstrings during front splits. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to do my pike. If you wanna warm it up, you can just hold this. You don't need to go all 100% in the first second. Again, try to bend with your hips as much as you can, as far as you can, and then relax. Again, you might not be able to do it like on your first day of stretching. I couldn't. So now, this is the end of the lower body stretching. If you want to stretch your upper body for like, if you do a lot of hand motions, like handstands or a lot of handspring type movements, then you're gonna wanna do this upper body stretch. Anyway, so now we're gonna start with our neck. We're gonna grab behind us, straighten our arms, and do circles. I myself do all of these stretches, and then after it I work on helicopter rows, because helicopter rows are easiest switch directions when you are as flexible as you can be. Okay, good, we just did that. We're gonna warm up, we're gonna stretch our chest now. You're going to make a 90 degree with your arm, and then you're gonna put it on the ground, and then you're gonna try to keep your chest on the ground and then push back. You can reach this foot behind you to really get that stretch. This should stretch your chest. And I would say hold this one for at least 30 seconds, at least 45 seconds, I would say, because it's very rare that people stretch their chest, which is a very important part of their body. But we're gonna move on for time's sake and just go to the other side. You won?
I got the last kill.
Nice.
For some reason, I play better when I'm not playing with you.
Ouch.
Maybe it's because you steal all my kills.
That's a fact. I do kill everyone.
Right before I kill them.
Solid. Okay, so we just stretched our chest. Now we're going to stretch our deltoid. So we're just going to be in a child's pose just like this. We're going to have one arm forward and reach the other one across. Make sure that you're not opening up your chest like this. Your chest is facing towards the ground, and you're just gonna push straight down. And then you should start to feel this in your deltoid shoulder. You can also, you don't need to go straight across. You can go up a little bit, stretch a different part of your shoulder. I hold this for usually about 30, which is the minimum, to 45 seconds. You can hold it for longer. Longer is always better. That's what she said. Anyway, would you say? How many kills did you get?
I got 25 last time and 25 that round.
Jeez. You do a lot better without me. And again, we're switching. The fact that this is all one angle might make things look kind of a little bit boring, but oh well. If you really want to learn to stretch, then you should be patient enough to watch this. And there we go. Next thing, we're almost finished. This is going to be our last one. We're just going to be warming up our wrists so that we can do some hand movements afterward. If you don't plan on doing handstands or any type of handspring type movements, then I would still warm up your wrists. So what we're going to do is do this, flip it, boom. And then we're going to be trying to sit back into our heels. And then you should feel this on the palm side of your wrist. And we're going to do circles now. These wrist stretches you don't need to do for like 30 seconds. The next thing we're gonna do is like this, fingers down, and then the top of our hands now. You don't need to do them for 30 seconds, just like 5 to 10 rotations. And then you can move on. Switch directions. And then that is all the stretches that I do. Yeah, I really hope that this helps you guys. Again, stretching, doing all these stretches once isn't going to help. You need to do it, I would say, for at least 3 weeks to see any noticeable progress, okay? So I hope to see you guys back here watching this tutorial, this stretching routine again. And yeah, I hope this helps. Later, future pros. Bye.